Ooh, that's new. Hello and welcome to the Red Brow Project. I am Renee. I'm back here tonight with such an exciting guest and an exciting co-host. So I am the producer and creator of the Red Brow Project, and tonight is our very first night of one of our co-hosts from the Red Brow Project support team, Miss Daphne Marie. It is so good to see you.
Hey, Renee.
Hi, I'm so excited to have you sharing my counter co-host part. You are looking, of course, sparkly and radiant.
Thank you. It's Monday. I had to bring a little zazz for the week.
That's right, for sure, because that gets the week off and running on a good foot.
Yes.
So we are so excited this afternoon, this evening, whenever you're listening and tuning in, to introduce you to our Red Bra guest, Kat Owens. So we're here on episode number 85. Kat is a creative entrepreneur, an event planner, and just such a beautiful creative soul. And I cannot wait to get more into your story, Kat, to learn more about you and kind of your goals and your dreams and where you're coming from. So welcome to the Red Bra Project.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to just sit and chat and just have some fun tonight. Just have some fun, or this afternoon, whenever.
Yeah, whenever.
It's tonight for us.
Right.
Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about your background and where you're coming from?
Okay, so again, my name is Kat. Katherine is my full name, but everybody calls me Kat, and I love Kat, so we're gonna go with Kat tonight. So I am from Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Again, I am an event planner, event producer. I love everything about events. I love everything really about being creative. Once I get into my creative mode, I'm like putting things together. I'm like putting ideas together, putting actual objects together. So I love everything when it comes to just creating anything. But events is really my like niche. And I graduated from Kean University with a bachelor's in communications and sort of more in public relations, but general was communication. I also graduated with my associates in business administration and also a certificate in event planning management. I love to travel. I love cheesecake.
Me too.
Yes, I love cheesecake. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. And needless to say, this past year, I'm sure, has thrown a few roller coasters and wrenches your way in the event world. How did that impact you and your business and kind of your mentality and everything? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, this past year, yes, definitely has thrown a wrench in the event world. So for me, my business is really getting was really kind of getting off the ground a little bit before COVID came about, because when I started my business, I was still in school. So I was in school. I wasn't really like focused on pushing it yet. But when I graduated, then, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to push it. And then COVID happened. So it was like, okay, well, now I'm trying to push this. Now I can't push it because with COVID happening, all the restrictions, no one can really be out. So that definitely kind of put a wrench in it for me, definitely as far as like pushing my business. But I really still use the time to be creative and think of ways to still, once this, I know eventually, we'll be back, which we're actually coming back out now. People are having events and doing things. So now I use the time to be able to get it together. So when we open back up and be able to, host events, that I will be able to do that. So I actually have 2 weddings that I'm going to be planning, one next month and then one in August. So I'm actually excited because, like, again, this is the time that my business is actually being, pushed out there and being seen for the most part. Yeah.
So, Kat, do you think with being a new business owner to a certain extent, because you were just graduating, getting out of school, was it harder for you to pivot because you hadn't already actually been doing things? So it was harder for you to come up with things to, do virtually?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
When I was in school, I was doing event planning as like a student job, but it wasn't really the full blown, like I'm doing everything from like start to finish. Certain aspects of the events on campus. But yes, once I graduated, it was just like, hard because with events, people want to see work, want to see what you have, like they want to see what you can do versus, okay, I'm just saying I'm an event planner. So yeah, it was definitely hard because at that time, I didn't really have anything to show for people to even say like, I trust you with my event. I trust you with my vision, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely was hard. As with any business, really, coming out of school. Yeah, but it was definitely hard because like I said, I had to use the time to really, okay, what can I do to show people like I can do this? Like I actually have the skills. My creativity can definitely bring forth a vision for you. So yeah, it was hard. It was definitely hard.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone. How did you kind of jog your creativity, especially on days when you just didn't feel like you had it, but you knew you had to kind of motivate yourself or to keep doing things to moving forward?
So I really just honestly, a lot of times when I would get into a mode or get into a space where I would feel like I was stuck or like, I needed to feel like I needed to, push myself to do something, I really just thought about how far I've come to that point, because I was in school for a pretty long time. So I thought about.
Are you one of those people that made a career out of getting a degree?
Almost. Almost. It almost was a career for me, being in school, because I love education. Like I love continuing education and everything. So it definitely almost was a career for me between two schools. I did my associates and then did my bachelor's. So yeah. So thinking about all the time that I spent investing into my education and really just even sort of the little experience that I did have in events, I just thought about those times, and a lot of times it really helped me get into the mood to think like, all right, Kat, no, you don't have an event for someone, but you can create a centerpiece. You can have create some kind of like catalog to show people like, okay, I can do this. These are the centerpieces that I can create. This is the area of events that I can do for you. I can do this, do that. So definitely thinking about how far I've come with like patient.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Cause so for me, my business is pretty much service based. And of course, I did have to pivot too. So I started making earrings. But with both of you, Renee, you too, with both of y'all being like event planners, like you have to be out, mingling with people and everything like that. So what did that was going to be my next question. Like, did you do something that could push your creativity, like you said, making centerpieces or making, just things that you could take pictures of and say, this is what I could do?
So I did that. That was one thing that I've done. And also so a friend had gave me an idea to talk to different organizations that host different events. So where there were times where I wasn't doing necessarily creative things like create centerpieces for events, but I would be coordinating the event. So all that stuff was already done. So I would just be running the day, like basically running the show. I would, connect with the vendors, connect with whoever was around, and make sure that everything was going smooth. So then the host wouldn't have to worry about all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, other than being creative, that's what I will be doing as well to kind of, get myself out there, get my name out there, and like you say, pivot, my business. Yes.
I love it, Kat. You just kind of, you went outside of your boundaries. You didn't let something that we had absolutely no control over put you into a box. And I mean, it's tough too, especially when you're working from home or you're by yourself or you are, you're not in a room full, a team of creative people and that energy is vibing, you're psyching yourself up. So, I mean, for you to do that, especially during the ups and downs of COVID and everything else personal in your life you had going on, is pretty awesome. So is it just based your events out of New Jersey?
So it started out that way, but now I'm opening up. So the wedding that I'm doing next month is in Virginia. So I'm going to be traveling to Virginia to do the event. So I'm pretty open. I feel like event planning, I mean, you don't really need to be based in a particular place. You can, as if you're able to travel, then I feel like, with event planning, you can be kind of, open. So yeah, I'm started out based in New Jersey, but now I'm open to, traveling, doing things like abroad.
Listen, Renee's all over the world.
Yes. If that becomes an opportunity, I'm open.
I love it. You're putting it out there in the universe.
Yes.
Awesome. So
Kat, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
You got it.
Okay. So my podcast originally was a radio show I had on campus while I was pursuing my bachelor's degree, and it was the same name, A Chat with Kat. So basically, I bring people on a radio show, and what we're doing now, that's basically what I was doing on my radio shows, interviewing different people on campus. I had people off campus come on campus, and I would like interview them. So when I graduated, I was like, I really enjoyed doing that. So I had the idea to turn it into a podcast. And that's basically what I do. It's different now with the podcast because also that I kind of started that when COVID happened. So a lot of my episodes are just me, not really. I think I have like 2 episodes in my first season where I'm speaking with someone, but now that everything is open, I'll be able to, bring people on. But yes, basically my podcast, I'm just interviewing people, various topics, like entrepreneurship. I talked about women empowerment on one episode. I talked about colorism on one episode. So it's just random topics that I feel are important to discuss. And I give my views. And if I bring someone on, we just discuss whatever the topic is for that episode.
Have you focused, I'm sorry, Renee, have you focused more on that with COVID than you probably would have if COVID hadn't happened? Do you think?
Episodes?
Your podcast, yes.
So actually season 1, I did a little before COVID happened. So I don't have any episodes yet. So I'm starting season 2 next. I'm going to be talking about COVID, my experiences with it, things that I've dealt with during the time. So yeah, probably not too much, but I'm definitely going to have some episodes where I, discuss the COVID.
It sounds like you had a natural segue from your radio show in college to being confident enough to transition into the podcast world. Did you have any fear or uncertainty kind of wrapped in that before you launched the actual podcast?
Yes, I did. Honestly,
totally normal.
When I started the radio show, it actually took me about a month after they gave me the okay to start the show. It took me a month to even get into the radio station to record. I don't know. It was a fear. I'm thinking, I'm like, people don't see me. They just hear my voice. So I was thinking like, oh my God, like, what if someone thinks my voice sounds crazy? Or like, what if someone thinks like, what if they don't want to listen to what I'm talking about? So it took me a month to get in. So once the semester ended and then I transitioned to the podcast, it was still the same fear. And I'm like, okay, I already did it already. So why do I still feel the same way? But I did. And it, again, took me a little while, but then I was like, you know what? Let me just not think about that and just go. I did it already. So, it's already out there. People listen to the radio show. People have been on, they enjoyed it. They loved it. So what am I like fearful for? So then I finally got to it and got the episodes done. So it was pretty good.
So tell us, Kat, what inspired you to do to be an event planner out of everything in this world that you could have went to school for or, started a business? Why event planning?
I always give credit to this club I joined when I was doing my associates, when I was pursuing my associate's degree. It was called the Social Committee. So basically, we were in charge of all the social events on campus, from the parties to the Thanksgiving dinners we put for students who didn't have family and they were on campus. We put all those things together, holiday parties, all that stuff. And when I was a part of that club, I don't know, like it just made me feel like this is something that I wanted to do. I would go home after like I was done with my homework and I would be online searching events, like different styles, pictures of events. And I'm like, man, like this is really something that I feel like I definitely can do in the future. And from there, when I transitioned to my new school, I found the club, the same club, and I joined the club, and then I positioned on campus, and then I was able to produce events on a much higher scale than before. So we were doing like the pet rallies, we were doing the concerts, spring concerts, all those things. And I was able to get a more a different aspect of the coordinating side, because I had to like talk to vendors, talk to the artists, like managers and stuff. It was just, and I don't know, like I just felt, it's like, you know how you feel like an adrenaline rush? I feel that every time I'm like, anytime I'm in some kind of event, something.
I know Renee and I, when I talked to Renee, I was telling, I plan, I'm not an event planner. I do know how to do it. It's not something I want to do on a regular. Y'all can have that. But I was telling Renee, like, I'm like this huge procrastinator, but I work better under pressure. Okay. Right. So when I'm planning my events, I do light work up until, but like 2 days before is when I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to, but it always comes out great. I'm stressed out. Thank God I'm already have a short haircut, or I'd be bald headed from pulling my hair out. But so do you work like that?
I used to, if I'm honest, I used to work like I used to feel like, okay, not that I wanted to, not that I needed to do it, but it just, like you said, it just happens like that. And sometimes working under pressure, I don't know, it does give you this kind of like, okay, I did it. Like even though
yeah, that's how I feel at the end. Like,
yeah, like it's like, so at first, yes, I was like that. But then after a while I was like, okay, I need to change that, because as I grow, if this is going to be something that I want to do, as I grow and do bigger events, I really cannot do that, because then, when you're working with vendors and working with other people, I just don't think that that's good. that was the business.
So my next question, how did you change that? What were the steps for you that you took to change that?
So basically for me, I started to just work better with planning. So like I got a planner. I started writing things out. Okay, what day is this event? I started really looking at what did the client want. Like if they want real flowers, if they want artificial flowers, like what are all the things that they need, so that I can plan out when is the best time to call and have something ordered, the best time to do those things. So planning for me became a big thing. And now I just like love planners. Like I buy like 2 planners. I'm like a planner freak. Like I will buy a planner even though I have a planner. Like it's so crazy. So planning for me I had to, because like I said, the more as an event planner, the more that the events get bigger and bigger, trying to do things at the last minute could really be a bad thing. I mean, stress, no one wants to stress. So with the stress of trying to do everything at the last minute, I was just like, yeah, I can't do that, because that just would look bad, because then if something happens, then now it's on me. And then I have to explain to the client like, well, something happened. But yeah, so definitely planning for me. That was something that helped me to transition out of that whole like, oh, I got to do it at the last minute, or I procrastinate. I procrastinate on other stuff, but just not that anymore.
Yeah, what's like an event planning 101 tip you can give to some of our listeners? Because a lot of people plan their own events at home, just in terms of, whether it's a graduation party or, just a get together, a cocktail party, or, a baby shower. So what's one basic tip that you can kind of give to our guests who are planning their own? And of course, if you are near Kat, reach out to her, because she's a professional. However, when you're out on your own, what would you suggest?
I would definitely say a big thing is budget. A lot of people, like when I talk to clients, they're like, oh, I don't have a budget, I just want to know. And I'm just like, it's so important to know what you want, but it's also important to know what you want to spend on, like, and understanding our visions come with the cost. So if you want something big and lavish, then you have to have a big and lavish
money
budget. So, understanding your budget and actually what you can handle. I think that's really, really important. I think that's really important when it comes to event planning.
That's a really good tip, because a lot of times you want to shoot for the champagne events and atmosphere. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have the champagne money.
Right.
They want crystal balls hanging from the ceiling when they can only afford the paper mesh.
Know your budget. I love it. Yeah. And then stick within it. I mean, that's also a challenge too, because I mean, when you start planning and you do see some of the cool things out there, and it's a constant upsell almost. So
Yes.
like it's like, I mean, you're very cognizant of your clients' needs and budget. And I'm sure, I don't know. I think it's cool how you make your own centerpieces too. So you're very kind of hands-on creative as well, not just mentally, correct?
Yes. Yes.
What other types of things do you do? Do you paint? Do you do floral arrangements? Like what exactly do you do?
So besides centerpieces, I do the setups for the candy table. So I do the all the decor for that. The painting, I'm trying to venture out into that. I'm also trying to venture out into like the balloon, like doing the garlands and stuff. I actually created one and it came out pretty good. So I'm gonna work more on that. But more so is just I do centerpieces, table setups, and just the setups for like backdrops and for the candy tables and things like that. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where so I know that we talked kind of about your podcast and events, and now that they're picking back up and you're going to be actually physically in person going to these, how do you set your boundaries and what does that look like for you?
So my boundaries. So basically, that is I will be honest, that is something that I know probably a lot of people can say that they struggle with, is setting boundaries, because I was always the type of person that wanted to do everything. I wanted to do it all. It was as if like I had none, and I was just like, bring it all, just drop it all on me. But after a while, I was just like, okay, it started to become overwhelming. So like I said, with the same thing with planning, I basically plan things out. I will say, if I'm doing an event this weekend, I try not to book too many, like maybe meetings or things like that. I try to carve out space for myself to be able to rest and, get the time that I need for me, and even just the time for planning things as well. Because if you get so caught up in doing so much, you lose track of time, and then the days go by and then you're like, wow, where did this week just go? Even
right.
days turn into other days. I'm like, what day is it? And, now that we're getting back into, work and the hustle and bustle, as most call it, is really just planning for me. It's just making sure that not only do I carve out time for my work and carve out time for my projects, I also carve out time for me, because then if I don't, I'm not going to be any good for any of the projects or any of the people. So yes.
So Kat, here at Red Bra Project, we empower women. What or who empowers you?
Who empowers me? Oh, I would definitely say my sisters and my mom are definitely my three, that I would say are my constant like empowerers, if that's even a word. But I would definitely say those three are definitely my top, because it doesn't matter what I do, if it's a silly project to them, if it's something silly they think, it doesn't even matter. Like, they will definitely be like my cheerleaders. So I actually lost my sister in January. So even still to this day, I hold her close to my heart, and she's still, from heaven rooting me on. But yeah, those three are definitely my empowerment, when it comes to empowering me, in any aspect, whether it be personal, work-wise, career, anything, and in any area, definitely.
So sorry about your sissy in heaven, but like you said, she's watching over you, and it sounds like you feel her.
Yes, I do, definitely. Thank you.
What a beautiful sister and mom squad you have too, raising you up and cheering you on.
Thank you.
What is one piece of advice that you could pass on to maybe somebody thinking about starting a podcast or working through their fear, or even plunging into the event world and they're hesitant? Like, what is something that you remind yourself that, they may find helpful?
I would say something that definitely helped me through my fears was that we are all put on this earth for a reason. We all have a story, whether it be through your creativity, through a podcast, through whatever it is that you're trying to do. Someone needs that. Someone needs it. I don't make the same centerpiece that you might make. So there is someone that wants the centerpiece that I have, and someone that wants the centerpiece that you have. So I look at it like, whatever it is that you're trying to do, your light will show through that. And it's someone in this world that needs that. So if it's a podcast and you feel like how I felt, I don't know if anybody wants to hear what I have to say. Someone needs to hear what I have to say, not just wants, but they need to hear what I have to say. So if you're struggling with anything like that, just remember someone needs you. Someone needs what you have. So I would say just push through it and give the people what they need.
Speaking of push through, when you're having those down days or, something just throws you totally off track or whatever, how do you push through?
I push through. I basically, I would read. I have like devotionals that are in my room. I have some on my phone. I read them. I read them to myself. I read my affirmations, basically just encouraging me that, yes, this is a downtime. This is a hard time, but you have to get up because, like I said, someone needs me. Someone needs what I have. So definitely reading my affirmations, reading my devotionals is definitely my pick me up. My pick me up.
Kat, I think that what you shared about all of us sometimes thinking that nobody cares about what we have to say or a story or why would I start a podcast? There's 500,000 out there or, a million.
Right.
It comes down to that one person that does need to hear from you and that you can shine your light on.
Right.
You just have such a beautiful, fantastic energy. Like I can feel it and see it through our video call. That I just think that's really, really inspiring and important for others to hear, especially when you are feeling like you're just one little speck out there. So
I agree. Yes.
Story definitely matters.
Thank you.
Tell our listeners where they can connect with you, whether it's for events, your podcast, or in general on social media. So put it all out there. Share with us.
Okay. So
put it on out there, party girl. You gotta tell me you was a party girl.
On my Instagram, my business page is my business name is Endless Events by Kat. So my Instagram, Facebook, it's all Endless Events by Kat, endlesseventsbykat.com. My personal, if you want to see what I got going on there, is Kathy_Nicole, KATHEY_NICOLE, Nicole. And then for my podcast, I'm on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I am on Anchor Podcast, and if you just type in a chat with Kat, you'll see I'll be in a yellow dress with a yellow and black background, and it'll say a chat with Kat. And yeah, so that's where you can reach me. Yeah.
That is awesome. Cool. Well, one of our infamous questions, of course, on the Red Bra Project. So the Red Bra, it's like the woman's modern day superhero cape, right? So it's like a symbol, and you may not have it on the outside, but you always know it's worn on the inside. It reminds you that you can get through whatever you're going through. And when you look back on that moment, you're like, hell yeah, Kat did that. I'm so proud of myself. If I made it through that, I can make it through this next thing. So what is a Red Bra moment for you when you think about that? And they can be big or small, because sometimes we're going through different phases in our life where it's just like getting out of bed and doing one task off of your to-do list is a major Red Bra moment. That time is just so intense.
Right. I would say a Red Bra moment for me would definitely be, so I experienced a really dark moment years ago with depression. And I would definitely say the moment that I decided to say, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to overtake me, and I'm going to work hard and work through this. So I decided to go to counseling and really just talking through, because I'm an isolator when I'm going through moments like that. So I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be around anyone. So basically from that moment, when I decided to take that step to really work through it and take the counseling and get what I needed to heal and then share with other people, I think that was something that I was like, that really also let me see that what we all go through, someone needs it. Because then when I received the healing that I needed in that season and I shared it with other people, then other people were able to take the steps that they needed to receive the healing that they needed. So I would say that was definitely a moment for me.
Cool. That domino effect.
Yes. Yes.
That was beautiful. Yes.
Yes.
That is so important too. And my goodness, I think Daphne, I'm sure you're going to agree, but I feel like every question we ask Kat, a lot of it, you are so self-motivated. I mean, you're like, I did this, I discovered this, I pulled myself out of this. I mean, that's incredible.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. I know it can be tough for people, but I think that we all have it in us, but it's just, we all have to, once it's activated in you, then, you know, it's activated and then it's going to be like that all the time. But
I think I've started realizing that that's something that we all need to have, because, you know, people come and go out our lives, and those people that motivate you might not be around forever. And I'm not even just talking about on a, you know, like death or anything like that. Like some people are just seasonal. So they may not be going on your next journey with you. And if that was the person who motivated you, who's going to motivate you when they're gone? You know what I'm saying? So I think that self-motivation is something that we all need to tap into and really start taking seriously, because we got to be able to get to the next level without other people. You know, we got to be able to get up out of bed and say, okay, this is what I need to do today. We shouldn't have to pick up the phone and text and say, okay, I need my morning motivation. No, we should be able to give that to ourselves. So that's very important, Kat. Maybe that's another area that you should go into and make you a little bit of money off of. You could be a self-motivation coach.
I agree. I love these red bra moments that are born. And Daphne, you're so right. I mean, and honestly, you're of course going to identify with I need to motivate myself, because in your episode 82, 83, for our 82 listeners, 82, go back and listen to Daphne's episode, because you are such a go-getter too. I mean, nobody's going to do anything for you, you know, and that is completely just so obvious in both of your stories that you have shared. And I think that is just so empowering in itself.
And thank you. Yes. And I also, too, I think is important, because a lot of moments will repeat themselves. You know, there are going to be moments for me. I'm going to have more down moments. I'm going to have more moments where I'm not going to feel my best. I'm not going to feel my greatest. And it's for everybody. It's going to come back. We're not going to be, once we're self-motivated, now we're great, we're 100 every day, you know, for the rest of our lives. So I feel like she said, we shouldn't have to, or feel like we need to call, because everybody is living their lives as well, you know. So if we rely on other people all the time, then it's like we're going to put ourselves deeper, whatever it is that we're, you know, feeling in them.
Can you feel the power? I love it. We can do anything we put our own minds to. You're so right. Oh, this is so good. Kat, thank you so much for joining us. At the end of every show, we share a quote with our guests. And our quote that we chose for you tonight was, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength," from Marcus Aurelius. And you are such a perfect example of still doing your thing no matter what. Forget about the outside events, and that is beauty and strength. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful.
Thank you, Kat.
That was beautiful.
Listen, Renee picks the best quotes. I don't know how she does it beforehand, but listen, she picks the best quotes for guests.
That is great. I love that. Was beautiful, actually.
Oh, you're so welcome. Daphne's going to be up next week, so you're in the hot seat. You're in the hot seat. Thank you guys so much. Gosh, it was a great first episode with my co-host. You were amazing. Kat, your story is beautiful. We know it's going to help empower and help somebody out there once we share it out there. To all of our listeners, thank you guys for listening or watching on YouTube. If you don't follow us already, everything happens over on Instagram at The Red Bra Project. You can catch all of our amazing guest stories on our website, theredbraproject.com. And if you're a podcast listener, just pop in your earbuds and listen. We're on all of the platforms that Kat's on. Or you can watch us and all of our bloopers, because we record live and we don't edit. We keep it genuine and real. So thank you guys all for joining us. If you have a story to share, reach out. We want to hear from you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Night.